You're listening to the Real Estate Sessions podcast, and I'm your host, Bill Risser. Welcome to another Shortcut Sessions where I interview a guest from the past. It's a very brief 3 to 4 questions interview to catch up and see what's happening in their lives and to get their take on what's happening in the world of real estate today. Hi, everybody. Yes, it's another Real Estate Shortcut Session. Today, we're going to be talking to Nick Krautter, author of The Golden Handoff, a book I've referred more times than I can remember. I interviewed Nick for the first time back in 2016. I think it was episode 48. We'll definitely ask him if he remembers that. So I wanted to catch up with Nick, see how the book's going, see if there's anything we need to know. And little birdie told me there might be a second edition. So that's what we're going to really try to find out. So let's get this thing going. Nick, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, it's great having you back. I mean, there's only one other guest on the Shortcut Sessions, Nick, that has more tenure, that goes farther back than you do. And it was Jay Thompson, who was number one. But I'm going to ask you, can you give me the month and year that your episode aired?
Oh, I want to say April of 2019. Am I close?
Well, you missed it by a little bit. Yeah, it's actually June of 2016. So we have to go way back. It's almost 8 years.
Yeah, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, we were connected by Wendy Thatcher at Chicago Title there, who I love her. She's great. And it was a really fun episode. And I've got to tell you right now, the Golden Handoff, which is what we spent a lot of time talking about, I think I've referred that or mentioned that to people without fail every month since we've met. There's always someone I come across and I go, you don't know what you have there? You have to understand this. Get this book. Yeah. So hopefully it's awesome. Sold a couple copies.
I love hearing that. You know, it's so cool. I was talking to another friend that I hadn't talked to in years, and she's like, I just recommended your book yesterday to someone. And nice. That to me is got to be the most rewarding part is hearing from people that it's helped and kind of cleared the path to, you know, growing a business or having a successful retirement. It really means the world to hear that. So thank you.
Yes. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later, but I want to start with my typical shortcut questions. The first one's pretty straightforward. We're recording this in June of 2024. We're talking 8 years. So I'm going to ask you, what's the most exciting thing that's happened to you, either personally or professionally, in the last 8 years?
Ooh. Well, with the book, is getting to be a keynote speaker at really big conferences is super exciting. Before I got into real estate, I was in music and I was in bands and I sing and play guitar. And there's just something so thrilling about getting onto a big stage and being in front of a lot of people. I know that probably terrifies some people out there, but for me, it's really exciting. So to have that opportunity to be in front of really big audiences and make an impact is got to be the most exciting thing.
Yeah, that's right. And if you want to hear more about that part of Nick's life and entry into the world of real estate, I've got the link here in the show notes for the episode 48 from June of 2016. You can listen to it there. Next question, Nick.
Awesome.
You shocked me with a post on social where you shared your handicap index, and I realized then that you really, really like golf. So first of all, what is the index now?
I'm a 0.5, so I'm at the best I've ever been in my life. Shot under par a couple times this year, which is amazing to break par for the first time. And I did it on a pretty tough golf course. And that's playing well. I'm really excited to be at that level right now and working on getting better, but that's as good as I've ever played.
Is there a piece of you that wants a plus handicap at least one time to have it say plus 0.5?
No, it's not one time. I'm trying to get to like plus 2 or 3 because to be able to qualify for national like USJ amateur events, like the mid-am, the am, I think that's the worst you can be to qualify for something at that like a national level.
Wow,
and I'm lucky that I get to play with a lot of like really elite amateurs and professionals and former professionals, and people don't realize it, but the guys you see on tour, like Bryson DeChambeau just won the U.S. Open. He's probably a plus 9 or plus 10.
Right.
Is legitimately what he probably plays to right now.
Yeah, I think it's funny when my best handicap ever was around in the sevens, low sevens maybe, and ever. And that was
Yeah.
a long time ago. And you would play with somebody, and I was in my 30s, and they would say, "Wow, that's amazing. Why aren't you?" And I said, "What?" And they're like, "Well, when you go, you can be on the senior tour." And you just go, "What? What are you talking about? Those guys are light years away from what I am. And here you are, +2, or trying to get to a +2, and that's going to put you, look, it'll be really fun to be in those amateur events." I thought for sure the US Open was, at one point, wasn't it about a 1.4? You could qualify, or you could go to a local qualifiers and start that regional stuff. But wow, it's changed.
Yeah,
over
yeah,
the
good
years.
memory.
Yeah.
It literally, so it's so funny you say that. So the USAM and the US Open were 1.4, and they changed it this year. So I got to 1.1, and they changed it that week to 0.4. And so I still need to get better than where I'm at to do the USAM and the US Open, and also the British Open are all 0.4. So they're going to keep moving that, because even now with that, 10,000 people started the local qualifiers for the US Open this year. So
Wow.
it's a passion of mine. I get to play a lot and work hard at it. So now I'm at the point where I'm a lot of exercise to keep my body from breaking down, and trying to balance weightlifting and workout and mobility with playing, so I don't overdo it and
Nice.
can still keep improving.
Yeah. It's all about that core, baby. You gotta make sure it's strong.
Yeah.
Let's go to your next passion, which is, the Golden Handoff. You've recently, I don't want to misspeak here, but either you've kind of added a level to the book, right, or is it a second book? I want to get that right first.
Sure. So it's a second edition, and I added an entire new section. So the original book had, 5 steps, and this one I've added a new one, which is all about partial handoffs. And that's something that I learned about because I was teaching it, which is really cool. So going around all over the country teaching this, I get to meet all these amazing people and hear how they're implementing it. And the way that I've seen people implement it with partial handoffs is all the different ways. And in the book, I talk about the 3 main ways where a retiring agent and an adopting agent can connect before that retiring agent actually wants to retire. And I think this is going to open this up to so many more people, because I know in my experience, there's been a couple people whose businesses I really was really excited about potentially buying and taking care of their clients, but they weren't ready to retire. And the original system didn't really have a plan for that. And I realized I think now that's the most important thing. At the time, the original book, The Golden Handoff, was laying out a model and a path that I used successfully in buying 6 businesses. And my business went from 200 clients to 2,000 clients, all referral clients, not buying leads. And it made an amazing difference in the trajectory of my life and my business. I think now it could be 5 times bigger than that, because there's so many more people that want to stay involved, but they don't want to keep growing. And if you're not growing, you're losing clients. And that's the sad truth. And it's going to create this amazing opportunity for people to connect earlier when those relationships are still really strong. Because what happens is a lot of agents kind of just phase out and they lose touch with people because they're not calling back every year. They're not hosting events. They're not teaching classes. They're not doing all the things that they did to grow the business. And so as you lose touch with clients, they all know other agents and realtors. And so you start to lose those relationships and the value of your business goes down. And this is a way to avoid that, which I couldn't be more excited to share this. And I'm so happy that the book is out there for people now. So,
yeah. So it is, I think back on the Golden Handoff, your first edition, that it really was identifying that person who was ready or really close to exiting, or at least was thinking about it. And in this case, there's going to be something in the book about how do you identify somebody who's at that point where they don't want to exit because they probably can't, but they're not building. Is there some way that you can help people find those types of agents?
Yeah, the advice I give in there's a whole chapter on finding retiring agents. And I think what it allows now is that you can connect even sooner. And so what I would say is anyone around you whose business is shrinking and not growing has the potential to fit into one of these categories where they could join your team, or you could join their team, or you could partner on certain aspects of the business and allow the retiring agent to continue to work on what they want to work on. And in one sense, I think being at that stage in your career where you can be picky about what you want to do and not do should be seen as an accomplishment, right? That you're not chasing every possible client and deal, that you're focused on your core business or the people you really want to work with. But what that leaves out is all those other opportunities you could be taking and all those people you could be helping that don't fit into that core box of what you want to do, because you don't want to do it, so then no one does it. Versus now with a partial handoff, you could say, I only want to work with my A-plus clients, referral only, this price point. Maybe you only want to do listings. You don't want to work with buyers. You don't want to do sign calls, first-time buyers, whatever that is for you.
Right.
But let someone else who's excited about that, who's trying to get in the business or grow their business, take care of all of those opportunities and all those people that maybe you've outgrown or aren't a fit for where you're at, but are still an amazing opportunity, and people that still need to be helped, and people that are still looking for good counsel and good guidance when they're in their real estate journey. And so I just see this as a way to create way better mentorship opportunities for people that want to kind of what I call phase out, but not lose all those clients and not lose the potential income. Just creating opportunities to make that such a better, phase out to retirement process, and to help a lot of agents around them grow intentionally, and to make sure those clients don't get left behind. Because that's the other piece of this is if you have a good agent, you don't want to go try to find a new agent. You want to work with the people you know and trust. And this is a way for agents to endorse newer agents, upcoming agents, agents growing their businesses to their clients who they're not able, or they just don't have the bandwidth or the time to help anymore. And I see that as just a huge win.
Yeah. Would you say the target audience for the book has changed slightly with this extra edition? Is it still the same? Because I know it really could have been either. It was the young aggressive agent who was looking for a way to find a source, obviously, of nice referral clients that they could take care of, but it also was focused on people who were looking for something they could do, something that would work, and to be able to turn their data, base into an annuity was obviously the power of the book for them. So on the second edition, is it tailored more towards that person who's in that, I don't want to call it a midlife crisis, but they're just tired of the grind?
I think it's funny because it's the same person, right, but at a different phase in their career and their life. And I think what this book is doing is, if on one end of it, you've got your aggressive, newer, growing, like I would say just like a very growth focused person. It doesn't mean they're brand new or that they're been doing it forever, but in the growth phase of the business. And then you have someone that's kind of in the phasing out. If you think of it as a bell curve, the original book was the people at the front end that were growing are going to help connect with the people at the very end. And now we're kind of getting those time frames closer together. So you're not waiting until that retiring agent is actually ready to hand it over and say, okay, it's all on you, adopting agent. Now you're 100% in charge. And so the way I see this working is I think that's going to create just way more collaboration, whether that's a partnership between two agents or teams merging or teams, taking in adopting agents or retiring agents. And I kind of show the different ways that I see that happening. And I interviewed a lot of really great agents who are doing it in all these different ways and got their advice and their lessons from the real world, which I think gives a lot more, information and clarity and a lot more examples for people to draw from and see where they fit in that. So if the retiring agents were waiting till the very end, I think they're going to start thinking about this sooner. And I think it's going to just be so much better because the business is worth the most when you're the most active and you're the most engaged. Mm-hmm. But that's the growth phase, right? And so then once you start getting away from that, whether you do it quickly or slowly, the business is losing value over time if you're not growing it and maintaining it. And so this is a way with a partial handoff to avoid that erosion of the value of the business and the quality of those relationships that aren't being taken care of, and let someone come in with that energy, with that growth mindset to take over some of that work and help those people.
Yeah. Nick, this has been great catching up. Like I have been recommending your book since June of 2016. I think it's fantastic.
I love it.
Yeah, I think that it really solves a problem for an industry that doesn't do a very good job of setting people up for retirement, to be brutally honest. There's a lot of agents I've seen out there in their 70s that are still cranking along, and it's probably because they had to. So that's just fantastic. If someone wanted to reach out to you, what's the best way for them to do that?
So the best resource is goldenhandoff.com.
Okay.
There's some really great calculator there where you can put in your numbers of, how many transactions you do and your average commission. And based on the model in the book, it'll show the value of a business to the retiring agent and also the adopting agent. And I'm going to continue to add resources there and continue to update resources. And there's a lot of free information there and access to scripts and dialogues, the calculator, marketing pieces, the contracts, the announcement letter, all that's there for free. We make that available to everyone when you sign up at goldenhandoff.com.
Nick, it's been great talking to you again. I'm so happy that you're able to continue, this way of doing business, I think that really not very many people have thought of.
Yeah.
I hope that it continues on. I can't wait to see what the additions are to the second edition. Continued success, and really work on that golf game, because I do want to see you in playing maybe at the Memorial on a Monday. Is that where they play at the last, wherever they play?
I'd love to be doing that. I'll certainly let you know if I make the cut somewhere.
Thank you for listening to the Real Estate Sessions. Please head over to ratethispodcast.com/RE sessions to leave a review or a rating, and subscribe to the Real Estate Sessions podcast at your favorite podcast listening app.